For a blind person, there is a huge gap between our life quality and the life quality of sighted people. I was diagnosed with retinoblastoma bilateral when I was 6 months old. I became blind at the age of 5. Since I was pretty much 8 or 9, my parents introduced me to technology, and we found that that was the place where the gap between blind and sighted was the smallest. My understanding was that computer vision, autonomous cars, and that field would become the future of accessibility. That's why I decided to do my master's on it, because with a background mostly in computer science and a little bit of neuroscience, I felt I needed a little more understanding of what I actually wanted to do, and that biomedical engineering would give me this expertise.
Lucas has been a biomedical engineering master's student here at Carnegie Mellon for 2 semesters, and as part of the program, he works in a research lab, and he's been working jointly with me and a postdoctoral scholar in my laboratory. And in terms of research, what we've been really interested in is how we can provide inputs to the brain.
What I am specifically doing is pretty much data analysis. So I get a bunch of neural data, and we try to extract useful information from that data.
It's really vitally important that CMU ensures a supportive and inclusive environment for students, staff, and faculty, and I can think of really 2 main reasons for that. One is just the basic issue of fairness. We would like every person to have the opportunity to live up to the best of their potential. And then the second is an issue that's just simply about the output. Having research that incorporates those perspectives makes the research better, and we think it will have a bigger impact on society.
Asking for help and talking with colleges and understanding that you will need visual assistance is very important, and that's where Priscilla comes in.
I'm definitely not a stranger to having odd jobs throughout college. My role as a visual assistant is to basically provide the materials that Lucas needs to do his classwork and to conduct research. There is a little bit of this misconception that I take notes for Lucas or that I do portions of his work for him, but that is definitely not the case. I really just make sure that he has the materials he needs and that he can understand them. There's definitely a reason why they chose to hire a graduate student. They needed someone with a strong background in math or a strong background in interpreting visual representations of anatomy and physiology.
We needed to adapt a lot of material. And there are a couple of different ways that you can think about adapting the material. The first way is, straight up converting something to Braille.
A lot of professors just take screenshots of textbooks and they transfer them into their PDFs or their PowerPoints. And I just had to make sure that everything prints out clearly for Lucas, nothing's too crowded. Sometimes they switch symbols between what's in the textbook and what's in the PowerPoint, and I have to make sure that everything's really consistent and clear.
So the next step would be to translate that text into Braille. So let's say, for example, we have a text that students need to read, but the text is 35 pages and you have 3 days of reading it, which for a sighted person, you scan it. It's okay. For us, the way that you read Braille, it's a lot character by character. So for you to read 35 pages, it's not going to take 3 days, it's going to take 3 weeks.
I basically had to learn how Lucas reads and then translate whatever the professor is trying to say into something that Lucas can understand.
So working with Lucas has definitely impacted the way I teach and lead and think. I think that's acutely felt when you experience an interaction with someone who isn't quite receiving what you're saying in a direct way. And with Lucas, because he is blind, some of the ways that we communicate, maybe visual ways, using figures, may not translate so well. And we have to learn to adapt the way that we communicate in a way that people get the same message and the same content.
If you are a blind person going into any of these fields, and I'm gonna say STEM in general, you need to think out of the box.
We gave some confidence to the university overall that a blind person could be successful in this role.
But it's extremely rewarding to know that you are doing something that can potentially change other people's life.